Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today is November 28th. My name is Kenshin Ota, and this is today's market wrap-up. For the first piece of news today, ECB announced the potential to reset its inflation target to 2%, moving up from original target of slightly before 2%. The report says that the policymakers at the ECB expect to tweak their inflation target, but will still struggle to go much further than in terms of achieving a more radical changes in measuring the achieving price stability. Tweaking the inflation goal to 2% over the medium term would have the advantage of removing any pressure to start tightening policy as soon as price growth moves up. Policymaker intends to boost expectations, a critical factor for generating an actual inflation, by creating room to overshoot for a while. For the second piece of news today, the Japanese electronic maker Panasonic Corp confirmed to sell its unprofitable semiconductors unit to Taiwan's Nuvoton Technology Corp for $250 million as the Japanese electronic giant struggles to lift its profit amid a lack of growth drivers. The sale is part of Panasonic's plan to cut fixed costs by 100 billion yen, which is the equivalent of $920 million by the year ending in March 2020, by consolidating production sites and overhauling loss-making business. Panasonic has already divested most of its chip business as it lost to more nimble Korean and Taiwanese rivals, and has shut down or shifted its manufacturing facility to its joint venture with Israel Tower Semiconductor. Its semiconductor unit currently focuses on designing power management chips and sensors for smartphones, cars, and security cameras. It sold part of the power management chip business to Japan's Ramco this month. Panasonic said that the sale would not have any significant impact on its earnings. The value of the deal that Panasonic has announced excludes the amount Nuvoton would pay for Tower Semiconductor's stake in the joint venture. For the final piece of news today, on last Thursday, November 21st, OPEC alluded the likelihood to extend existing oil output cuts until mid-2020. The non-OPEC oil producer, Russia, is supporting Saudi Arabia's push for stable oil price amid the listing of state oil giant Saudi Aramco. On December 5th, Saudi Arabia is set to announce the final pricing of the initial public offering of Saudi Aramco in what it hopes will become the world's largest IPO of $1.2 trillion, which was significantly lowered since the initial valuation of $2 trillion. The oil price at the time is likely to be the key to Aramco's listing, expected around mid-December. Since the announcement last week, the oil price has hiked, resulting WTI and Brent to land with roughly 10% growth during November. Next OPEC meeting takes place in December 5th, which will confirm the extension of supply cut. So moving on to the market. The North American market was generally stable. Nasdaq and S&P remained flat, and TSX going up by 0.08%. As for the European markets, saw negative movement, the FTSE and the CAC down by 0.22 and 0.29 respectively, while the DAX is also down by 0.31%. Moving on to Asian markets, the Hang Seng Index down by 0.22%, S&P up by 0.2%, while the Nikkei being down by 0.12%. In terms of currency, the Canadian dollar saw a positive movement between US dollar and euro. For the commodities, oil price in WTI and Brent down by 0.51% and 0.32% respectively. Copper Pulse moderately lost, and gold is down by 0.45%. That's it for today's market wrap-up. Thank you for listening.